Okay, so following day, this is my attempt to make a temporary grading front end to my 36-inch bucket. And this is really just to push material away without having to dig into it, because that's kind of the problem I've been dealing with. It's just some decking planks that I'm using. Screwed them in place. It'll probably fall off. It'll probably break the first time I use it, but it might not. It might actually work well for us. We came up with an interesting solution to get material to the center of the pond without breaking our backs during the process. I'm not fond of operating a shovel anymore. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think I overexerted myself a little bit yesterday. It was insane. I was in there digging for probably about an hour and a half, and when I got out, I was dizzy. I wasn't feeling good. I'm like, man. Kudos to those of you who do that and can do it all day long in the hot sun. You're certainly a more capable human being than I am, I think. Anyways, guys, we're going to move the tractor over to the pond again and see how this works. Okay, so I'm just going to mess around with this little area right here. Show you what I'm doing. There's a little mound right underneath the bucket. I'm just going to see if this is even able to push it without breaking. Wow. Don't know how many times I can do that repetitively, but we're gonna find out. Definitely don't want to close the thumb on it because it'll shatter all that lumber like it's not even there. All right, so yeah, Herman. Herman is our name that our nickname that we've given this DuraWorks cart. This thing's over 10 years old. It has been through hell before it even came out to the property. And yeah, it's continuing to suffer, but it's been just chugging along, and man, this thing is just such a beast. So our idea, as you saw, was to lower Herman in, fill Herman up with this material, and then kind of go towards the center. If you didn't catch the video yesterday where we talked about, if you didn't catch the last video I made on this where we moved all this material to the edge, then we were in here with shovels and we were digging and scooping it into the center because the bucket doesn't reach that far in. I stepped into that area when we were done, and I was trying to step out, and I sunk in like 3 feet. It was insane. It was so fast when it happened too. So what we've discovered today though is this back tire got stuck in there, and when we pulled it out, it instantly just backfilled with water. So the water table here is very, very low, and it's certainly something that we need to keep an eye on. This material is really set here so we can compact the bottom of it. So when we put the new liner in, it gives us at least some stability here. That's all we're trying to do, is stabilize this. We're not trying to, make this thing super, super hard on the bottom. Again, it's just to stabilize it. We got to tamp all this stuff down and compact it. It's mixed up right here, which is completely fine for me. The main thing for me is that we just want to stabilize the bottom. To kind of give you an idea, before, if you walked in any of these areas, it felt like you were on a waterbed. That's how moist most of this area is. And this clay material should give us a really, at least a reasonably solid base for us to be able to work in here, put the new liner in. And then, again, I'm trying to find out what I can fill back there. The dirt guy actually told me to use a concrete slurry back there, so I need to determine if that's something that's going to be feasible for the backside of that retaining wall. But yeah, it's a lot of work getting it done. I gotta be honest with you, I did not know if my decking plank idea would work or how long it would work to kind of turn this into more of a grading or a clean out bucket versus, your traditional trenching bucket or digging bucket. And man, that thing's been awesome. The wood's not broken at all. I did everything I needed to do, at least for this specific area, to move everything out, and it still held together. I think it's finally starting to work its way loose on the other side, and I think that was only because when I dug, there was some suction there that kind of pulled it off a little bit. But that's insane. It worked. That's crazy. And I was still able to actually scoop to fill up Herman with all the material I needed. So part of what we need to do is take material from this edge right here, this edge over here, that area, and especially that area over there, and start kind of repositioning it in this area underneath some of these bags. And then once we figure out from a concrete perspective what type of material is going to work well in there and how we pump it in there, maybe we remove some decking planks off the top and we go in from the top. But yeah, that's definitely the next part of trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. The liner that was here before is actually behind these concrete sacks that were filled. So you can see it right there, and it goes behind it. And the new liner is going to go on this side, and then we're going to use like flagstone and such to kind of anchor it down. But the first thing is once we get this tamped down, we put the liner in, we fill it with water so we know how much it's going to sink, because if we put the flagstone around the edge first, what will happen is as this pulls in, it's simply going to pull the liner out from the side. So we're going to put the flagstone after we put the water inside of here. But again, I still got to figure out what I'm going to use for that retaining wall over there. Anyways, if this is something you guys do, or maybe you have a business that does this, I'm open to advice. I'm open to feedback, as long as it's feasible feedback. Some folks have said to gunite the whole thing. That was a $130,000 quote, and that's putting the rebar under it to stabilize the bottom, because there's no use in pouring concrete in if the concrete's just going to sink to the bottom. So that would be rebar on the side. There have been two different kind of approaches to it. One company said they wanted to remove all the concrete sacks and put a new concrete wall around. Another company said that they wanted to put forms and put a layer of concrete and then put rebar on the outside and then concrete that. So yeah, there's a lot of different types of approaches that companies have looked at when doing this. I've gotten 4 quotes so far, and the lowest price was a guy who said he was going to put a 4-inch slab on the bottom, and then he was just going to use concrete like putty and essentially spackle the walls. And it was going to be like a $50,000 quote, and no warranty, no guarantee, nothing. It's just like, this is what I'm going to try to do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And a large part of that cost is actually the price of concrete, because this is a huge pour. We had a pool guy come out that does gunite, another company that does shotcrete, and the minute they see this, the first thing they say is, yeah, this ain't going to be cheap. So again, just trying to figure out the very best plan for this. I think what we're planning on doing is just turning this again into just another pond. We may add some water features and do some interesting things with it, but still not 100% certain. All we know is we have this giant hole in the back that we want to do something with, and right now converting it back into a pond is kind of the best idea. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. Still continuing the project, still trying to get this thing worked out. This is going to be a long project just because there's a lot of different pieces to it that need to fall into place, including just the process of tamping all this stuff down and trying to stabilize the base before we can put a liner in. But again, you know, dealing with that is also a major part of this. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.